Welcome to Job Tales, the show where we find out about various professions from around the world. Each week I speak to a different guest about a new job that may spark your interest. With me today is Frank Ludolph from Nyon, Switzerland. Frank, welcome to the show. I haven't yet covered your profession. Well, the location might give it away for some. Yes, it's about football. You are the head of technical development at UEFA. Quite intriguing. Can you tell me what your job entails and what is UEFA?
Yeah, first of all, good morning, Laura. It's a pleasure for me to be with you. It has taken quite a while that we managed to find a common date, but that is due to my travel, my business-related travel. I'm traveling quite a lot in Europe, but also in other continents right now. First answer, UEFA is the governing body of Europe's national associations in football. So we have a very important role. There are other confederations on other continents, and you have FIFA, FIFA is the world governing body for all continents, and we are taking care of Europe. My role, head of technical development. Let me start by saying that I'm already 27 years now with UEFA. Before that, I was working at the German Football Federation. When I graduated, I got an offer from the German FA to join them in the field of coach education and also international relations at that time. The organizations were much smaller, by the way.
Yeah.
When I started at the German FA, we were 50 people.
Wow.
And 6 years later, I moved to UEFA. I got a call from the general secretary to join the technical development team. And at the time, I was number 63. Today, we are 800 employees at UEFA,
Incredible.
spread over 3 buildings in Nyon. We have also offices abroad in London, in Brussels. So it's a big organization today. My role, head of technical development, it's different pillars, in fact. And the role has evolved over the years. When I started, it was really related to coach education. Then over the years, other areas were added, like grassroots football, our exchange programs. We have a grassroots charter. We have a coaching convention that regulates the coaching profession in Europe. There is free movement between UEFA associations. We have 55 national associations, and all 55 today are part of the so-called UEFA Convention on the mutual recognition of coaching qualifications. So a very strong and powerful tool for the good of football development and quality development. The better the coaches are, the better the game and the players are. So this is a very important aspect of my work. We connect in relation to this. We have flagship conferences. We have on a regular basis national team coaches conferences, technical director conferences. We have coach education directors conferences, and in the grassroots sector we have, as I said already, the grassroots charter, which is also an endorsement program of national grassroots programs, and we stimulate the importance of grassroots work at all respective national levels, and we also organize regularly conferences in this context.
Okay. So my question to you would be to say, so you're really focusing on the quality of coaching, right? So when you say head of technical development, is it really focused on coaches?
Yeah, as I said, perhaps the answer was a little bit too long. I can also just speak about the main pillars. The pillars are the coaching program, the grassroots program, our exchange program, which is called UEFA Share. We have roughly 1,000 participants every year, and it promotes the technical exchange between national associations.
Ah, okay.
Always with a red thread. So it's very complementary to the big pillars, coaching program, grassroots program. Then there's also the analytical side. We are covering all competitions with technical analysis teams. So it's mainly renowned coaches that help us analyzing all games, girls, boys, men's, women. So we are covering all competitions.
Okay.
club competitions and national team competitions. And the findings are then also fed back into education and development. Because you need to understand the trends of the game in order to nurture also the education.
So when it gets to analysis of the game, what do you mean? Can you explain a little bit of what do you analyze?
It's tactical shapes, the key to success, which technical shapes are applied by the teams. And we also have interviews with the coaches, and it's a very broad spectrum. We have also three in our team. I have three specifically educated analysts, and we produce on every competition a technical report. The
Okay.
technical report is like a book talking about all technical details of the games in one season in every single competition. And these reports are also publicly accessible. We have a special website, UEFA technicalreports.com, and you can also go back there in history, which is quite interesting to see how the analytical side has really evolved.
Okay. So it seems that it's really like very important for UEFA to have an education culture and coach education culture. I see in your CV that you sent me. I'm the only one to be able to see it at the moment, but it's you were coach education manager in Germany. So is it early on in your career that you knew that you wanted to take this road and this path professionally?
Towards the end of my studies, it was open. It was quite open. What I always liked is sport, of course. I mean, I did physical education studies, but I also studied literature,
Okay.
which is an interesting combination. So I'm also a secondary school teacher for French and for physical education.
Okay.
I also did a master's degree in Romance literature,
Hmm.
and and I was always very interested also by cinema. So when I came to the end of my studies, I had several options. I could have stayed at university as a scientific assistant of my former professor in literature.
Okay.
I also had the option to go to school to work as a teacher, but there was a waiting time of, I think, 3 or 4 months at the time. And then I tried a little bit on the market to see what else I could do. I was not so keen to go into a school environment, so I was very open minded.
Hmm.
I also had my coaching badges. So, I mean, I am a former football player as well. I played third division in Germany, which was semi-professional, and
Okay.
started getting into coaching licenses quite early. And during my studies already, I had the chance to work with the German Football Association in the context of international courses for Asian and African coaches. So
Ah,
that was the first contact with football in terms of the national association. And then all of a sudden, after my studies, I got a phone call and a position became free, and they offered me the job.
uh-huh.
But I had on the same day, I had an interview with the German FA and with a marketing agency in Frankfurt that
Okay.
was also specialized in sports and a strong relationship to football. But then at the end, I took the job with the German FA.
So you had put your feelers out already in Germany at the football association. So what do you think that caught the attention so that that they hired you instead of another candidate?
Well, that somehow, I mean, it was not meant to be an internship, but I did three international courses in 3 years, so they knew my competences,
Hmm.
and language-wise, that was also important because they wanted to cover also the international sector. I was speaking at the time already 3 languages, so that was certainly a very positive thing. And then, of course, the evaluation of the colleagues of the German FA, how they saw me, and the feedback they provided me. That
Okay.
was an outstanding opportunity.
Okay, awesome. So then you said, okay, no more cinema career. This is what I'm going to do, and you jumped right into coach education and technical education.
Yeah, I mean, cinema is still today is a passion for me. I also wrote screenplays at the time, and I was really tempted to go into this direction, but it was such a different world.
Hmm.
Also, I finished my studies and should have started another cycle of studies. So
Hmm. It was going to take time.
I,
Hmm.
yeah, it would have taken a lot of time, and I was also at an age where I said, okay, now I want to start gaining some money as well.
Going now back to your early years, like how did you build up your skills? So was it like a hands-on job? Did you have, from when you studied to when you actually applied your knowledge to your job, let's say UEFA, because you've been many years now at UEFA. So from the beginning at UEFA, were you coached? Did you find a mentor? Did you, learn on the field, or how do you find your progress was?
As you said, let's leave the German FA out. I got at one stage a phone call from the General Secretary to join UEFA to strengthen the team of the then technical director, Andy Roxburgh, who was the former national team coach of Scotland and a very prominent figure in the game, a visionary. And I learned a lot from him, I have to say. When I arrived, I thought I knew a lot, but I had to learn also really a lot how
Mm,
this interaction between the national associations functioning. And we had to do a really big convincing job also with the national associations to go. That was the first mission, in fact, to join the UEFA coaching convention. A lot of control mechanisms were put into place, but the associations really saw the benefits of what we are doing, also in the light of the introduction of the UEFA club licensing, because with this club licensing, it also became mandatory that coaches have a qualification and then a UEFA qualification.
uh-huh, okay.
So I went through a very intense process. On the one side, thanks to the very close and strong cooperation, yeah, you could call Andy Roxburgh my mentor, but I had other people as well. We have a specialized body with leading figures in terms of technical development in Europe, representatives from national associations who guided me a lot and with whom I worked very closely. I went on missions with people who were frontline coaches, who were defining national development strategies, and all of this was extremely helpful.
I guess that you mentioned the number of employees increased manifold over the years. So has now let's say the profession within UEFA become competitive compared to when you started? And if so, what are the skills or the things that a young man or woman would need to have today in order to be employed, hired by UEFA?
It depends on which area. When you have 800 people, you can imagine it's like a normal business. It's like a big company.
Yeah.
We have a very big marketing department. We have a legal department. Lawyers, lots of lawyers are working for UEFA, and the whole event management side. It's massive to
Mm,
run all the competitions. It is not. We are not talking only about Champions League and European Championship, which is running right now in Germany,
mm.
but we also speak about all the youth competitions, both club and national team competitions, futsal, the women's competitions, boys competitions. So it's massive.
It's massive. Let's say
But
it's coach
if
education management.
yeah, if you speak about my area, competitive inside, no, I wouldn't say that. But if somebody would like to join, the person should, man or woman, should bring with him or her a lot of knowledge on football, of course.
Hmm.
Ideally, a coaching background, a coaching qualification. Sports studies are helpful,
Okay.
and pedagogical skills are also important. Because we are not sitting only at the desk in Neo, we are traveling quite a lot around, run seminars, run conferences, and these skills are certainly necessary, or these qualities are certainly required. In addition, we have 3 official languages, and every additional language is of added value. We have English, German, French, and ideally, I mean, mostly we communicate in English when it comes to written confirmation or written communication, but on a daily basis with my team, we practice all 3 languages.
So languages are important, yeah, and this kind of background. So it is important that you're not coming out of like no experience at all on football, for example. This will not fly.
Yeah, no, that would not be helpful.
So if I look at like a typical day for you, because you travel a lot, you do a lot of different things. Let's pick one day from last week, because I know that you were traveling. Actually, you always travel. So what would be a typical day for you, being the head of development?
I mean, Laura, there is no typical day. You're just saying it. There's a lot of travel involved. My role is also a little bit changing now into a more strategic advisory role, and with a strong focus also on intercontinental work. So we have cooperation agreements with South America, for instance, and I was 4 weeks ago, I was for a week in Paraguay for a coach education workshop with an expert group from UEFA and an expert group from CONMEBOL. Last week, when you mentioned last week, I was in Germany at the European Championship, but there are no typical days. We had also a meeting last week with Central America, with CONCACAF. That's our sister confederation there. We are also looking into intensifying our cooperation in technical education matters. So it's very enriching, and that is the positive side of my job, that there is no typical day.
What is something that you really enjoy in your job?
What I really enjoy is that it's not boring. You have all the time challenges coming up, challenging challenges that you can solve. You can solve it with a team. We also work cross divisional with other experts that we bring in. For instance, the legal side, meeting people across Europe and the world is extremely enriching and also rewarding. I speak a lot at conferences, etc., and the feedback you receive there is just tremendous, and that is really something that I like a lot.
And what do you find, let's say, difficult in your present career, or any compromise that you know that you need to make to have your job or to keep your job?
A friend of mine said once to me, I could also work for the United Nations based on the fact that I try to be as diplomatic as possible. And that is needed. You need to understand different cultures, different attitudes to certain things, politics you need to understand. Yeah, that's a compromise, but is it a compromise? I'm not sure, because that's also my nature, being diplomatic.
So do you also, let's say, have mentees? I think it's in English. People that you mentor also for future careers at UEFA in your department.
Yeah, we did this for a certain period of time before COVID. In fact, we had every year a trainee joining us from one national association. The person, we had one from Slovakia, we had one from Estonia, from Norway, and these colleagues, they stayed 1 year with us, went through the whole cycle of activities with us, and with this gained knowledge and expertise, they then went back to their national association context, and generally they had another step in their career. So that is something where you can see that you can have an impact on people in taking them by the hand and showing them a different dimension of the game, meaning at the pan-European level. We have also a specific program that we are running. It's a mentor-mentee program for talented female coaches.
Okay.
it's the weakness right now that we do not have that many UEFA qualified women in the game, and we want to change this. We
Okay.
give scholarships for women, and we have this mentor-mentee program for women who are already qualified but still need to be accompanied. And we pair them with very well-known figures in the women's game. They accompany them over a period of 18 months, and they have certain contact dates where they can exchange, where they can contact the experienced coach. We have, for instance, the former national team coach of France, Corinne Diacre, who is a mentor, and she had accompanied a younger colleague from one national association of over 18 months. And
Okay.
this proves really being very, very successful.
Very effective, yeah, no, for sure. And so, what advice can you give to the young people listening today who want to enter this line of work or want to enter UEFA in particular? Maybe they're attracted by the organization, they want to be involved with football, and maybe they don't have all the points, that the check marks to enter.
One advice is to be focused. If applying for a position with UEFA, they should do it with all their conviction for a specific area and not applying for every job that is published because might have this thinking for whatever price they want to work for UEFA because it's European football. So not applying for every job that is published, but really picking the right position where they believe really and they have the conviction that they fulfill the criteria and bring all the qualities that are required. Our website is quite up to date. All the open positions are published, and read carefully and then really think about having the right qualities for the position they are targeting. And they should not have the wrong or the illusion that coming to UEFA they would be every day in contact with football. There are
Right.
so many
Okay, that's
different
important.
jobs.
Yeah.
There are so many different jobs, like in every other company.
Yeah.
I mean, in my area, it is football. We are in contact with football. We are going to the games, etc. But it's not every department at UEFA which is dealing directly with football people, etc.
Right. So you should really read carefully. Yeah.
Yeah, I've met now over the years. I was really very fortunate to have met extremely well-known figures in the game, and also had the chance to understand the person and that is behind the name. If you take somebody like Sir Alex Ferguson, for instance, I've worked over a number of years with him. I worked also at the time with Franz Beckenbauer. And when you start understanding the people behind, that is really, it's like a gift. It's really like a gift.
Excellent. Is there anything else you would like to add before we end this episode?
No, not really, not really. Do you have any? I mean, you asked me about recommendations. I
Yeah.
spoke about it.
Yeah. That's great. I think it's no, it's fascinating what you do. I think it's good for people to learn also because it's not something necessarily coming out of when you're trying to decide what to do in life. Maybe it's unless you're really passionate about football. Maybe it's something that doesn't come up automatically. So it's good to know that there are jobs out there that are connected to football, but not necessarily, where you do play football, but you can, coaching and also the marketing around it. So when you have several skills, you can apply it also to football. And then if you like to travel, then maybe the coaching development could be your thing. So, and I think the main message that you gave is a good one to really be focused on what you want to do and not just try everything and then hope that through your passion for football then something will come up. So that's a really
Yeah, I
good
mean,
message.
if you try everything and apply for any kind of job that is open, also the human resources departments will think the person is not focused.
Yeah,
So
it'll be counterproductive. Yeah.
it's counterproductive. Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
I
Thank.
saw in the preparation to our conversation you were also asking about how long can you stay in the job. Basically,
Forever.
First of all, you have to be good to stay really a long time, and then obviously it's the legal age is 65, but there are possibilities to prolong. But when you have a profound knowledge of the game and this kind of technical development aspects, you can always stay in the game also as consultant in the future. So there are lots of possibilities right now.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best in the rest of your career.
Thank you so much. You're very much welcome, Laura.
That was Frank Ludolph, Head of Technical Development at UEFA. You will find more episodes on Spotify, YouTube and Apple Podcast, as well as any of your favorite players. If you have a guest to recommend, please write me to jobtalespodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. See you next week for a new episode of Job Tales.